think I had a network issue, a small network issue. So I was explaining on, we were talking about some of these areas of concern for information security audit. So, I was agreeing with you that the foundation of any effective security strategy So I was talking about the foundation of any effective organization security strategy and how actually are they used. So there are a number of key questions which security auditors should attempt to answer. When I'm going for security audit, I need, number one, to know how are the passwords designed? Are passwords difficult to crack? First question, before even you start doing information audit, before you start moving to other deeper things like penetration testing. Secondly, are the access control, which normally we would refer as ACL, in place on network device to control who has access to shared data in place? Yes. Are audit logs or records of who accesses the data in place? Because sometimes you need to know who is accessing which data, including the audit logs, and how often do they review the logs? You see, if it is an examination system in universities, we need to know who is accessing, who has changed, like that. So we keep logs and keep reviewing them. Are the security settings for OS or operating systems in accordance with accepted industry security practices? It's normally a general guideline if it is an organization, most of organizations, like maybe you have a firewall, or for example, you have software to be able to detect when malware wants to come in. So like antivirus softwares. See, so security setting for operating systems must be in accordance with accepted industry standard. You will also be checking on whether there are unnecessary applications or computer services which need to be eliminated, which are running on systems within the organization. So are also the all unnecessary applications being able, who manages these applications? Or for example, operating systems and commercial applications, who are using it? Are they patched? To what level? You see? Backup media, those are areas of concerns that I want to check before I do an audit. You see? Is there a recovery plan in case there is a disaster? In case a database is dropped or accidentally fire consumes this building where there's IT assets, what is the recovery strategy in place? What is the recovery plan? Who are the participants and the stakeholders? Again, you also need to look on cryptographic tools in place. Of course, you understand cryptographic tools are governing data encryption and how these tools have been configured. So you need to check whether it has been properly configured or there is no encryption mechanism when they are exchanging data, you see, between sensitive departments. Again, another concern is custom built applications. Sometimes you have softwares which have been tailor-made and used within the organization. Do these softwares which were built within organization have security in mind when they were developing the software? Or are the custom application be tested for security flaw? So you need to be asking yourself those ones. So having conducted those concerns and looked into those different areas, or the gray areas which can lead you to areas that you need to audit. So you need to ask yourself about configuration and code changes, which normally are being done within the organization, because most of the time we need to change configuration codes for particular software. Are these changes being documented? You need to have a specific flow of activities, how the software should be changed. After how long was it changed? Who changed it? Everything should be documented. You see? So those ones are some of the key questions that security auditors should attempt to answer. For those who are coming into class.
Dr.
Yes.
Some members are requesting that you let them in.
Yes. Let me check.
Okay.
Let me check any additional. Yes, I've checked that. So for the joining members, we are trying to understand how to conduct an effective security audit. So we have seen the concerns or areas, the key areas that you need to look into before you start doing a security audit. So the second thing, after you have identified the areas, or realistically, you have assessed how secure it is or how vital the information is, then the next important thing you need to learn after you have considered the key areas is security policy defined. Ask yourself whether the security policy of the organization is defined, or how this security is audit, how effective is organization security policy. Because most of the organizations don't have security policies, by the way. If you not, most of organizations do not have security policies. And therefore, normally, there's no standard security practices which is guiding the organization. So normally, for a few organizations, for a few of those organizations, especially those ISO certified organizations, which I think majority of these organizations who have acquired this ISMS certification, a number of them have now moved to an extent of now moving to ISO certification. So normally those ones have policy in place, which is defined. So for you as an auditor, you need to sign off a security policy. Within this, the signed security policy, you need to understand whether employees know the policy guideline of information security within the organization. Have they signed? You know, before you are employed or as you come in as a new student to the university, you need to sign the security policy so that maybe you cannot escalate and do other things which are not meant to be done at a particular level, or people know what they're supposed to do. So the policy cannot be enforced if people do not understand the policy document. So you just need to ensure that everyone at every level understands how to protect the company data and agrees to fulfill their obligations. So very important. You need to note when you are doing a security policy, when you are investigating the security policy, just understand that there is a natural tension which normally exists in a workplace culture in terms of security policy. Even with the best intentions, employees often choose convenience over security. And a very good example is, you will realize that, for example, there is a password policy guiding that you should be able to change your password frequently after every other period of time. But you will realize that some employees, because of laxity, try to use those passwords or repeat passwords which they remember. You know, they don't want to have or bypass these steps which are intended for creating stronger passwords, so that maybe they can be able to configure them in future like that. People tend to, you know, that is, you are giving a risk, you are exposing the network by not being able to configure the password or following the policy guideline. So the auditor, you as an auditor, should seek to measure security policy compliance and recommended solution to deficiencies in compliance. So again, very importantly, within this policy, you also need to understand that some of these organizations have policies which are deficient. You might get the organization policy in place is not as such very well covering areas of concerns which you think should be able to protect their critical infrastructure. So, or sometimes it might not be reflecting all the organization prospects or IT assets. So policy in any way should be able to reflect the industry standard for the type of IT resources that an organization uses or owns in that regard. Now, another important area, having understood security policy.
Dr.
Yes.
Quite a number of members are in the queue. They are complaining.
Oh, okay, okay. I've seen them.
Kindly check on them.
Let me admit them. Admit. I think they are joining. So the new members who are joining, it's quite a number. We are working on a security policy, and we're working on a security policy, and we are discussing on areas of concerns that you need to worry on that policy document. So we have agreed on what should be in the policy. Now we need to discuss on pre-audit homework. So shortly, I'll catch up shortly.